Hi, welcome back to the first video of 2022. It's good to see you. We don't know where you're watching from or what time it is, but whatever it is, we're here together and it's really good to see you.
Yeah, welcome to the I Am Identities. We hope you're having a great 2022 so far. Hope you had a great holiday season. Hope you had a great time with family and friends. And here we are 11 days in.
11 days,
Yeah.
11 days. It seems to have gone so quickly, almost like a march, to a rhythm. But this year, we're all going to be progressing and moving together to whatever that rhythm is. But we're going to make that rhythm work for us as we hear the heartbeat, the rhythm of God's heart.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Over the holiday season, we were having some discussions and just some conversations, obviously reflecting on 2021, how that's gone, things that went well, things that didn't go so well, areas where we could kind of improve personally, reviewing our work situation, all those kind of things that you do, making some plans for the new year. By the way, we hope you've made some plans for the new year. It's really, really important. And we hope you're sticking to your resolutions, by the way.
And if you haven't, there's still time.
Yes, it's all about discipline.
And it's all about when you start. Sometimes it's good to start 1st of January because they tell us that's when it's good to start. But I think we start when we feel we're ready, and we just put some plans, some goals in place, and if it's from 1 month to the next, but it's however it works for you and your home, your family, your relationship.
And the most important thing, as we're talking about on those points, is that when you've made that decision, is to absolutely go for it, to hold nothing back but go for it 100%. And that actually brings us on to the subject of what we're talking about tonight. We're just sharing these things with you because we had some internal discussions about goals and about discipline and about planning and about determinations. And we looked at some scriptures over the break, and they really began to speak to us, especially in this current climate that we're in. And that was the scriptures in Luke 15 about the prodigal son.
Yeah, and I'm sure that many of us have heard the story of the prodigal son over and over for years. We've heard it. It's been taught, it's been preached, it's been, as I say, trashed.
Turned in, upside down.
Yeah, we've read it, we've closed the book, we've opened the book, we've tried to get it from a different perspective. But it was very interesting because we were having a conversation around the prodigal son, and there was something that really kind of jumped out from the written scriptures and kind of really resonated into our everyday 21st century London, East London lives, Monday morning.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to share that with you and perhaps, hear your comments at the end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The story of the prodigal son's interesting. I mean, we've heard it before. He went to his father and said, "Father, give me what's mine." And, the scriptures talk about how he turned it into cash, and he went and had a good time in a far country, and then he ran out of money. Doesn't that sound a lot like what happens today? I mean, none of us expected what happened in 2020.
Yeah, March 2020. We all mark the date worldwide.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah, absolutely. The world changed. The financial markets changed. And we all knew that after that period, things were never going to be the same. I think none of us knew quite how it was going to change, but we were certainly aware, that things were not going to be the same. And so it's proven. A lot of things have taken place. Obviously, we all know about furlough schemes, and and we all know just from our everyday discipline in terms of our own finances, whatever you lend has got to be paid back. And it's very apparent with the things like energy rises, gas price rises, fuel bill, food poverty, all those things.
Are they calling it rises, or are they calling them hikes?
They're hikes, yeah.
I mean, they're hikes and heights, and so much is going on. We're all feeling it wherever we are in the world, because every country is going through something that's really challenging us. Not to mention, I was saying, not to mention the people that we've lost, the close friends or family that we've probably lost during this time. So many losses, perhaps some gains in certain areas where we've reflected, but certainly looking at where we are now and how that time has come.
Yeah, absolutely. And in all of those situations, if you're an ordinary, you go to work with your job, your salary may or may not have increased. We hope you get loads of bonuses this year, but the reality is for some people that hasn't happened, and they have to kind of deal with these very difficult circumstances. So we just want to just encourage you to hang in there, because good change is coming. Good change is coming. So back to what we're talking about in Luke 15. We know the story. The situation is that a famine arose in the place where the prodigal son was having a good time, and he ran out of money. We know he ends up attaching himself to someone who's a citizen of that country. And we know he ends up in the pig pen, and we know that no one would even give him what they were feeding the pigs. But what jumped out of us, one of the key points that maybe you want to pick up on, was the fact that, when he began to come to his senses, the pig pen moments.
And I think, that's what life does, isn't it? We get to a stage in life where, it's like we have a wake-up call. We have a time of where we become rational. We really want to, perhaps the word isn't rational, we want to evaluate. You're looking at where you're at, and you're thinking, how did I get here, and what was the process to me getting here? And we all do that, where we kind of just need to stop, and sit and think and go through sometimes we just go through lots of different emotions before we get to a place where we can just be clear and still and think about, how did I get in this place,
And how do I get out of this place? What steps do I need to do to get out of this situation? Where am I? I'm in a pig's pen. I'm not even allowed to eat the food. I need to get out of this situation. What is the way out? And I think that's one of the things, God is interested in ways out. Wherever you are, whatever tough circumstance you're going through, I can promise you this: God wants to provide you a way out. And that's why we called it pig pen and light bulb moments.
Yeah. Light bulb moments happen when we're in a dark place. It's a place where it just seems like there's no way out. Everything's changed. It could be finances, job, employment. It could be family. It could be your home. It could be sickness. Of different types. It could be physical or our mental well-being. But in that place, when it feels so dark, that's when God comes in. Yeshua, who is the light, comes in, and he becomes the light bulb moment that Andrew was talking about. And it's at that point where we begin to think about, okay, I need to get back to a place where I was. I need to be restored in that way. And how do I get back? What's the way back? How do I get out of this mess? How do I make a change for the good? How do I change, the the issues and the dynamics perhaps, and the roots of the past. What's got me here, and how do I get back? In fact, not even about getting back. It's about really, how can I be restored?
And that's what's really amazing, because as you just mentioned, Yeshua is really interested in light bulb moments. And in those dark places, he wants to strip away all the things that are not important, all the things that could be potential distractions, the things that, help us from seeing sense, or, or seeing a way out. One of Yeshua's titles, that he is wisdom, and one thing we certainly need in these times is wisdom and understanding. Why? Because, the situations that are presented to us every day, they're very, very, very tricky, very, very, very treacherous. There's so many things that purport to be the way out, and actually they're not the way out. They're actually designed, to take you even further into what we call darkness, or, whatever that situation is.
And further down into feeling, trapped in so many ways. Sometimes life feels like it traps us, and, we're just not talking out of, what we've read or the book experience. We're talking out of many years of life experience, where we have felt in these situations. But, God is faithful, and he's always brought light bulb moments and said that I identify with you in that darkness, in that dark place, in that pig pen.
Exactly, because he is the light of the world. And because he is that light, he absolutely knows where to shine the light, because he is the light. And because of that, he's able, when we have that light bulb moment, to be able to illuminate our minds, illuminate our hearts as to what to do, where to go, how to approach that specific circumstance that was called the pig pen, how to remove ourselves. In the story of the Prodigal Son, the whole story is about a story of restoration. And that's absolutely what the Father wants to do. He wants to restore you to the best place. Maybe you've not experienced that best place yet, but there is a very, very good place the Father wants to restore you to.
And I think the beautiful thing about the Father is that he has never stopped. He never stops identifying with us, does he? He never stops, no matter where we are in our lives, no matter how challenging or dark or whatever it is, whatever adjectives we use. He never stops identifying with us, and because he's a loving Father. And it's interesting that the father that the prodigal son left, he was always a loving father, and he knew that his son was going to come back. So he never stopped loving his son. He never stopped thinking about his son. He never stopped praying for him. And I think it's interesting, because I think that the people that have always had your back, you know who they are. Whether it's your parents or your family or your friends or your someone your cousin or whoever's had your back. They've never stopped. They've never stopped rooting for you, even though you may not have seen them for days, weeks, months, years. They've never stopped, because God places people into our lives, and that's how we see him, if not, in a direct way, but it's about people in our lives.
And that's a brilliant point, because on those restoration, those people, those relatives, when you will have a look at the scriptures in Luke 15, where this story is taken from, or this illustration is taken from, it talks about when he began to walk, while he was a long way from his father's property, that relative, that cousin, that brother, that mum, that dad, whoever that person is, they were already way away from their house, waiting for him or looking for him. It's interesting that prior to that, Jesus in the scripture talks about the parable of the lost sheep. the shepherd was out looking for that lost sheep. And in this very next illustration, the father is out looking for that prodigal son, because it says while he was a long way off, in other words, he hasn't got home yet, the father was already out looking for him. The father was looking for you. You know, Jesus is looking for you, and he's in the business of restoration.
And you know, this is again, you know, a story of restoration, a story of love, a story of forgiveness way before. And it's not about, you know, the person coming back. It's not about us coming back and having to do penance, you know, for something that we hope to achieve in the future. You know, when God restores us and everything is restored to us, it's immediate. You know, there's we don't have to do any penance. It's just about acceptance. And I think that's an area where so many of us struggle. Can I be accepted the way I am? You know, do I have to be different, look different, talk different, you know, or whatever? Do I have to act a certain way? No, we don't. God just wants us to be ourselves, because that's the identity He created in us. And it's about just come back, continue, and be the person that you are, because He loves us.
Exactly. You know, the prodigal son's mentality was, I can be a hired servant. The father was having none of it. You are a son. You're a daughter. I love you. That is never going to change. You know, they had a celebration for him. You know, didn't matter where he'd been. The fact is, as the story says,
a big party with no masks.
Big party with no masks. But yeah, this son of mine, which was dead, is now alive. You know, in other words, he is not where he was before. And that's the great thing about Jesus. He's the light of the world, and he doesn't matter what you've done or where you are. He sees you as his son. If you start your way back, he wants to restore you.
He identifies.
He loves you. Because he never stops seeing you as his son. You have his ID.
Yeah, he identifies with us. So that's what we wanted to talk about. I mean, there's so much we could say, but you know, we just wanted to throw something out there, leave it with you, have a think about it. Perhaps you know, drop us a comment. You know, let us hear your perspective. But whatever it is, this is a story about being restored back to the place where we should have been, where, you know, God always had for us. And, you know, it's about coming home and getting on with the business of everyday life. And that's a process, but He's in that process.
Absolutely. And we exist in His love. His love for us will never change, you know, so brilliant. So again, thanks for tuning in to us again this evening.
Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell button.
Where's the like? Is it there or there?
I don't know. Hit the like button and possibly leave us a comment. And if this video has resonated with you, or you feel that, you know, you'd like to share it with someone else, just share, and let's hear what you know, we all have to say in this community. So we'll see you in the next video. So take care, and speak to you soon.
Okay, all right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Okay.
1 minute 58
Okay, all right.
B-roll.